All right, what's good, y'all? It's your boy Kenny Black, aka Mr. Funny Money, and I'm here with these two strange men.
Why I gotta be strange all of a sudden? It's Codeine, your favorite pops.
DJ Nightmare, you know what it is.
Yes, and this is Yo Shit Talkin Daddy's podcast because it's self-explanatory.
We be talking all the shits.
All of it.
Yes, sir. So quick check-in. What's going on with you guys?
Shit. Recovering from COVID.
Oh, you did that?
Yeah, I caught the vid, man. I was trying to make it without catching the fucking vid, but I caught the vid, man.
And that Amarion caught you.
Yep.
Touch.
Yeah.
Nah, it's two more variants out. It's a 4 and a 5 out now.
See, now it's a whole versus.
Yep. We got a boy band.
It wasn't that bad, right? It was mild.
Nah, I was fucked up for like 2 days.
Really?
Yeah. But that was before I knew I had it. And then I went to work after like I felt better. And then somebody came into work and it was like, I don't feel so good. And spent all day at work talking about I don't feel good. Talking about I was sweating all night. And then we all go get tested, and then everybody in the office got COVID.
Damn. They gotta shut it down.
Nah, they made us work from home. They was like, yeah, you might die, but you're gonna be working.
That's the BS, yo. They know it's a whole pandemic and jobs still be like pressuring people to work. Like it don't make no sense. Like they don't even give enough time for you to recover anymore.
Really I love my job. Don't fire me. I love my job. I need the paycheck. Don't fire me if you see this. Anybody I work for.
That's it. You gotta cover up. Nightmare, what's up with you?
Same, just chilling out here in these streets, you know. Ain't got much going on. I tell people
no SOBs.
Them little jail blasters, y'all gotta be careful with these. Like you heard about what happened on it was on East Tremont and Grand Concourse.
Nah.
Somebody had a different version of these that looks more like a gun, and they got shot because somebody thought it was a real gun.
Oh, of course. See, that's why you can't
be careful with these jail blasters.
I don't understand why people want to get realistic looking guns. I'm like,
and the funny thing is, when I bought these online, the realistic looking ones, they don't even allow it to be shipped to New York City. So whoever bought that, they
out of state brought it in.
Got the Long Island Jersey connect.
Yeah, because you know
I got family in Jersey.
Of course. I'm all right. Yesterday was my cousin's birthday, so she celebrated. She turned 32. She celebrated at my house. She had a 90s theme water party, so there was water guns, water balloons.
Your cousin is a female?
Yes.
You're not supposed to be telling women's age, bro.
It don't matter, because it really was her 30th again, because her 30th was during 2020 when everybody's birthday got shut down.
So she just been 30 for the last 2 years?
Pretty much. So that's what this was. So it was lit. It was
pretty dope. I had the DJ, so I made sure everybody threw their water balloons on the other side. Like, don't get mine.
Don't fuck up the equipment.
Yeah. I live on a dead end street, so he was in the backyard set up, and then a lot of the water fight happened in the street, in the front of the house.
That's kind of fun. My son was there throwing water balloons at people.
Yeah, yo, the weirdest thing, and we can go right into the topic, but it was the weirdest feeling last night, realizing like, oh, we are the adults now, for real. Watching the kids run around and water guns, and I have one of my cousins there who his birthday was last Saturday. He just turned 21. I'm like, whoa, my little sister's there, and she's 15 going on 16. I'm just like, this is weird. Like everybody at my house too.
So I got the Thanksgiving house.
Yep. Like we the ones who got to start the barbecues now. We got to start. Like
I'm gonna be grandpa soon.
Chill. You're not that far.
Yeah.
But right. So our first topic, what was it, Cole? We
what would you tell yourself about parenting before you became a parent?
At a general.
What would you try to enlighten yourself about? some things that maybe people didn't tell you when they knew you was going to be a parent. They're like, yeah, you should do this. But there's things that you've learned yourself.
I don't know. For me personally, I feel like there's not much that like I would want to know beforehand. I guess just having a lot of younger siblings, it kind of gave me that paternal instinct. One thing that helped that I was happy that my fiance knew a lot about was a lot of the doctor stuff, like the appointments that you got to make those first, during the pregnancy and in the first 2 years of life. I knew they had to happen, but like I'm glad she was on top of that, so I didn't have to I just had to show up. She was like, okay, this is the appointment, this day we're going. I'm like, all right, cool. That was it. One of my biggest things would have been more, I was living with roommates at the time when I found out she got pregnant, and our lease was just up. But one of my roommates was my line brother, and he had just had a kid, and I had told him I was going to resign with him. And so I kind of just wish I would have told him like, no, when the lease ends, we're gonna leave, just because I ended up moving back to the Bronx with my fiance and her mom, and so I was kind of paying 2 rents at the time, like part of 2 rents. I found that I was able to do it financially. I was like, oh, okay, I actually making more money than I thought. But like just the thought of like, all right, if I could focus on one and been able to set me up better financially moving forward, that's one of the things that I'm like, all right, just make the decision for your family.
Yeah.
I would say for me, I would say the same thing. Like I don't really have much I would tell myself because like I come from a big family and we always had kids, like uncles, sisters, but like cause both my parents, they both like one child of 11 siblings and 12 siblings. So it's really big. I was always around family, always like kind of understood like the family dynamic and like, especially how to take care of kids. I've been changing diapers since I was like 10. So like the only thing I would say is that like the pregnancy aspect, I would have prepared myself for because dealing with your woman when she's pregnant, and then dealing with the hospitals themselves because a lot of times they try to force women to do certain things and try to run around. So it's especially with Black women, you know how all these hospitals are. It's
Black and Hispanic women. Yep.
Yeah. So I would have prepared myself for that because I feel like because my wife, she had like a difficult pregnancy and it kind of traumatized her in terms of like, it traumatized her to a point where she don't know if she want to have more children, because of the experience. So.
No, I feel that.
Because they be dying during pregnancy, during childbirth and all that, and that's nothing to just be like, yeah, you did it before, you could do it again. Like, no, I might go.
Right.
So it's always something to take into consideration. For myself, I would tell myself to let kids be kids because sometimes I be talking to my kids like they in military school. And sometimes I'll be like, you need to lighten up a little bit. You don't need to be as stern and as harsh.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel like
that's the hard part of like trying to find that balance of being stern and fun dad at the same time. Like me, I'm a kid at heart, so I'm always joking and having fun. But it's a point where I gotta like try to veer myself to be a little bit more stern as well. So
you got siblings, man?
Oh yeah, I'm the youngest of 5.
Oh, you the youngest? I was about to ask where'd you line up in it because you talking about you was changing diapers and all that. Because I'm the youngest too. I was like, I ain't had no diapers to change.
Yeah, it didn't matter my house. My mother was very stern. She was like, look, if y'all want to eat, y'all gonna have to cook your own breakfast type. So yeah.
yeah. The sternness, that is the balance. It's like because you got to figure out what's your stern. Because I think like you, Cole, trying to not be militant may have come from like how we were parented. Like our parents' generation, they was when they said it or they gave you that look or that you knew it was like even if you was gonna be defiant, you just knew like I'm probably gonna get my ass bust for this. But you know what I mean. But now you're like which we talked about before. It's like I don't want to be that. I don't want I want you to stop doing this thing or like I want you to do this thing, but like that's it. Like I don't want you to fear me beyond this. I want to have fun after you do what I told you to do. You know what I mean? I want you to relax.
Yeah. I don't want to have to tell you the same thing 5 times.
Yeah.
Once or twice, and then do it.
Literally.
And then we can have fun after you do it.
That's it. Like it's literally just like sometimes like you causing your own misery. Like this could have been over already. After I got your hair, I give you a shot. I'm like, this could have been done quick, and you could have went back to what you wanted to do. But
The longer it take you to do something, the less fun I want to have with you.
Yeah.
I just be getting drained. It'd be like when you go out so much, you get socially exhausted. Like I tell you to do something so much, like I no longer want to go play laser tag.
Mm-hmm.
and
I'm just gonna sit here and watch a movie now.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact. And it's like bad because it's like, I want to give you this energy, but like I'm human because the day already is stressing you out. It's like everything you gotta think about and do, and then you're like, you gotta remember they don't have no concept of that. They don't know what else you had to do up to that point.
Their stress is a lot of stress, but they don't understand what our stress is. Like I was thinking about this the other day. Like when you're in high school, when something bad happens, it's the worst thing in the world. And then you get older and the worst thing in the world happens to you, and you look back in high school and you're like, it wasn't that bad. But when you were in that moment, because it was the worst thing in the world.
Because you have no concept of other. Like you don't know what's worse than this. So this is the worst thing to you.
And that's why when your kids be sad and stuff, when my kids be talking about they're sad or they're upset and stuff, I'd be like, upset over this? And I'm like, well, right now, that's the worst thing in the world that can happen to them. And in my mind, I'm like, yo, my friend just died, and I'm sitting here trying to make you smile and whatever the case is. But you got to understand, like, they're in their time. So the worst is the worst and the best is the best for that time for them.
Yep. I'm telling you, children are they're the most selfish people on the planet. Little midget selfish people. That's what children are.
They selfish, but it's not like a malicious type of stuff.
It's not malicious.
Selfish because they don't know better, and since they were born, you've been taking care of them. So the less care you're doing or the less responsibilities you do for them and give them more, then they be like, no, I want my mommy and daddy time.
Yeah, and I was actually going to ask this for you, Cole, having multiple kids. But like I know in my situation, because my daughter is an only child, like she wants our attention a lot, which I'll give her. I'm like, you have no one else to really play with. You're kind of too young for the kids on the block. You know what I mean? Your kids your age are at daycare. So I'm like, when you're home and you want to play, like you can't always play by yourself. So I gotta give her some of that. But Cole, for you having multiple kids, do you feel are your kids allowed to, or do they play with each other that gives you that kind of relief to be fun dad, or what's that balance for you?
Well, my son is here every other weekend. When he's here, him and my older daughter will play a lot. My oldest daughter loves my youngest daughter right here. So she often has her and she loves to play with her and talk to her. And my son, he's kind of shy. Like it's a blended family, and he's the most introverted, shy member of the family, so he doesn't really talk much. But there'll be moments where he like wants to hold the baby and is playful with the baby. So they're kind of far apart in ages, so they can play together. But some of the stuff my oldest daughter does, my son doesn't like yet, and some of the stuff that they do is just too wild and reckless for my youngest daughter.
Makes sense. What about you, Nightmare? You feel like you end up having to occupy your son a lot because it's just him?
But I would say the iPad helps. Once he got his little iPad.
God bless Steve Jobs.
But when that iPad dies, I gotta. Why kids never want to charge their equipment? Like they never want to charge the. I'm like, yo, stay over here where the plug is and try to plug it.
Nah, they gotta move.
Pull it and run it around and throw it. I'm like, yo, come on.
Yeah.
And they don't even be watching it. They turn it on and they be walking around not watching it.
Yeah.
But you can't stop. But let you pause it. They're like, no, what are you doing?
They're like, I tell you, that's why they say what they say about people is twice a child, once an adult.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I used to do the same thing with my grandmother. She'd be having the TV on, like falling asleep. As soon as you change it, what are you doing? Turn that back on. Like, you're not watching it.
Yep.
Yo, my grandma, she used to be cooking, and the way the kitchen and living room was set up, my grandpa put a huge jigsaw puzzle together, like one of them 5,000 piece jigsaw puzzles, and they framed it and put it behind the couch. So if you in the kitchen, if you look at the picture, you can see the TV completely.
Wow.
So my grandma used to put the TV on and then go cook. And I would come in and I would change the channel, and she'd be like, "I'm watching that." And I'm like, how the hell you cooking and watching TV? And then one day I started cooking and I looked over there. I'm like, you could see the whole TV.
That's crazy. That's smart. That's
That's
very
smart
smart.
as fuck. That's smart as hell.
That's crazy.
She ain't helping with that puzzle either. He did that shit by himself.
What's funny, grandma and grandma, they was watching shows that you don't really have to look at. Like it probably be like Divorce Court or like Judge Mathis, where it's like you can just listen to the conversation.
The Bold and the Beautiful.
Oh yeah, old people, they would have loved podcasts. Our grandparents, podcasts they would be a shit.
It's just something you gotta listen to. You can look at them if you want, but you can listen to it.
You know what I think about it?
They used to be their source.
They got radio. Podcast is radio on TV.
Yeah. Podcast ain't nothing but AM radio.
Especially when I saw that our grandparents were like, "Oh, my baby's on a radio." They would have been lit.
Oh yeah, fact. I'm about to put my grandma on some podcasts. Like, yo, mom, listen to it.
That's a tough segue into the next topic, though. What was it? Who said it? TD Jakes, I think.
TD. So I saw this meme, kind of a meme, but like it was a post about TD Jakes that says, see if I could find it.
Women are being raised to be men.
Yeah, and it's like messing with the black family because we're raising women to be men. Families are lost. That's what he said. I just thought that'd be an interesting discussion. Us being dads that have daughters, at least two of us, and just think about, I guess, if you had a daughter, just what you've seen. Like
for me, I feel like women aren't being raised to be men, but women are being raised to be well-rounded people. And just because they do stuff that's considered a manly act from the past, like a gender role norm, just because they do it doesn't mean they're being raised to become men. They're being raised to become people who know how to live self-sufficiently. They don't need to have a man to change the tire or whatever the case is. If they did, that's cool. But if they didn't, it's not going to hinder their daily life. They'd be able to do it on their own. I feel like it was TD Jakes who said that. That's what the post says. I feel like that's just like a toxic masculinity type of quote. It's a clickbait type of thing, because if you know how to do stuff for yourself, that's not being a man or a woman. That's being a self-sufficient person.
Okay, Nightmare, go ahead. I'm gonna share the post that I saw because there was actually more to it. I'm gonna share it to you on Facebook, but Nightmare, go ahead. What you about to say?
I would say yes and no. Like I probably agree with Cole where honestly in this world, yeah, everybody got to be self-sufficient. You got to do what you got to do in order for yourself to survive. But I do feel like there should be a line where men should know how to be men. Like they should know how to like take care of the household, take care of your woman and the kids and everything. And there should be also a role for women where they, as well, they take care of the household, take care of the children. But I feel like I don't know. I feel like there should be some sort of line where there is a separate aspect where this is what you should do, and then as a man, this is what you should do as well. Because when you blur the lines, it's almost like who's going to be the head of the household at that point.
Okay, so what's that's a good point. What, just to give more context into the post, there was also a mention that like women are being raised to be like men. Also, men aren't stepping up, like you said, being men to allow women to be feminine or operate in their femininity. That's what he was also commenting on. And so I feel like there's a level of like, I think like what Cole was saying, what's feminine and femininity is being reframed. And I think that's was some of the struggle with. Cause like you said, like it's really just like, oh, because she can just do for herself. And so like a lot of men are like, well, you don't need me. What do you need me for? And I think we talked about that before, where I think like what is needed for men is kind of shifted. But then I also agree with Nightmare in the sense that like there's a level of like stepping up as being a man. Like, okay, for example, I was out once hosting a music show, and my fiance texted me like, yo, there's a water bug flying around in the house. You know what I'm saying? First of all the texts you can get from your woman, that is probably the worst. Because I almost didn't come home.
I mean, it
Like,
ain't the worst.
yeah, right. But
Close.
but then I'm thinking about, I'm like, my fiance and my daughter in the house, and you already know how women are with bugs for the most part, right? So I'm like, okay, she very well could have handled it and could have killed the bug, but I'm like, at the same time, she's afraid. My daughter is 4, so she's kind of like, she's afraid of bugs because mommy's afraid of bugs, kind of a thing, right? So I'm like, well, damn, I have to come home and kill it. Like, that's one of those moments where it's like, as the man of the house, I gotta be the one to like deal with the flying bug. Now, we all know, I don't care how I'm 6'2", I don't care how strong you are, a flying water bug is carrying shit.
Woo!
I'm like, baby, we gotta move.
You feel me? You feel me? But I'm like, damn, I can't now be a coward to like have my women, the women of the house, you know what I mean, essentially tormented by this thing. I gotta come home and be that. Like I gotta swallow that fear for them. Like I feel like that's a moment of like, when it comes to be the man, let her be afraid and you know what I mean? You do it despite the fear. Like I feel like those are those kind of moments.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense, sort of. But if I wasn't home and there was a water bug flying around, my wife is gonna kill it. That doesn't mean she was raised to be a man. That means when there's a bug around and ain't nobody around, she gonna kill it. If there's one around and I'm here, she may ask me to do it. But she's self-sufficient, so she'll do whatever the hell she feels the need to.
You
But
know what I think though? I think nowadays women, yeah, of course, women are taught to be independent, self-sufficient, but low key they do that until they could find a man that's suitable for them to not have to do all those independent things anymore.
it depends on the everybody's situation, because for a man to step up in certain aspects, it's a financial thing. Like, yeah, I don't want my woman to pay bills. I think I seen a post that somebody said, I think it was Iman Shumpert. He was like, yeah, if you making money, then you don't want your woman to pay bills. But if I don't have the money to make it end to end with all the bills, then of course there needs to be some type of situation where we both pay something. But it depends on the type of request that a woman is asking for. Like if a woman wants to live in her complete femininity and she wants a man who's going to build her a house and shit and have the money who can do all this shit for her, then that's cool. But if you don't have that accessibility financially and you just want some man to give you whatever you want, even though he work at McDonald's, you need to reassess your lifestyle. What are
Now,
you actually looking for? Are you looking for a partner or a caretaker?
yeah, because there's a it's so great because it's like people trying to hold on to an old thing, but like and not evolve with the time. Like I feel like it should be it's funny we talk about a choice thing. Like you said, like she should be able to like if the bill needs to be paid, she can pay it, right? If
Oh
garbage
yeah,
gotta go out or something gotta because she can do it. But it's like, but as a man, you know, we like to serve and provide and go work. So it's like, go ahead, go do it. And if I can't do it, then you do it. And some women have like goals and dreams, like they want to be a lawyer. Okay.
I
But
don't know. I feel like if because I don't know. I've been hearing a lot of women say, "Oh, I wish I could just have a man who could just pay all my things and I don't have to worry about nothing." They honestly, I feel like women would rather would be like a stay-at-home mom or just work and have the man work because honestly, it's because the American system we're in now, the economy and everything. At both parties have to work, but I would say if they had the ideal notion, They probably will rather have the men work and they just chill and do whatever.
When women were stay-at-home moms, raping your wife was legal back then because they didn't want to give it up, but men could come home and be like, "You giving it up today." So there's certain things that you guys want it a certain way, but the world doesn't allow the majority of men to provide that on a financial level. Like there's men who can, and there's people who find a way, but for the majority of the people in the world, you can't just be like, yeah, give me 10 men. 9 out of these 10 men can pay all my bills, all their bills, all the house bills, and make me a stay-at-home mom.
No, that's a valid point. Like we're younger, like just younger, but people just from previous generations, like we know aspects of it, but we don't know. We gotta look at the whole picture, like you said. Like you said, a lot of women now do want to be housewives and stuff, but at the time when you were a housewife, women couldn't do anything else, and men had all the money to be able to sustain.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because they couldn't do it, and so throughout history, women wanted to do these things, and now that they did it and they've done it, they're like, damn. I want to go back.
But here's the other aspect of it though too. Like if you want to be a stay-at-home, like that doesn't mean literally just stay at home and be on Amazon all day. Like no, you got to be able to take care of the kids. You got to be able to clean the house. You got to be able to cook. Like it's those roles that like that make women feel like, nah, my place shouldn't be in the. But if you want to be a housewife, man, like that's what you got. Because don't make sense. You want to be a housewife. You got a maid. You got a chef. What are you doing? It's the Eddie Murphy joke. Your only job is to fuck your husband.
Yep.
And then at that point, you can't. It's like you can obviously as a autonomous human, you can say no, but it's kind of hard to say no when the man is out working. Everybody else is taking care of like literally. What else are you doing?
That becomes the table conversation. And what are you bringing to the table? Because clearly this man done built the table, so you better be laying on top of it. Shit.
Yo, if I could be a stay-at-home husband, I would do that in a heartbeat, yo.
Nigga, I'm not gonna hold you.
I wouldn't. I couldn't. I don't like cooking and cleaning that much. If I could make my wife a stay-at-home wife, I would love to, because the house would be clean and there would be food all the time, and I would love it.
I don't mind the cleaning.
But we can't do that right now.
Yeah,
no, I don't mind cleaning or cooking because I watch Food Network. I like to experiment, like
go crazy. I don't mind doing either, but I don't want to do it every day.
Yeah, I don't
want to be a stay-at-home husband every day.
I can cook. I don't mind. She just is a better cook and she actually enjoys it. So I'm like, because she'll experiment. I'll just cook what I can. For me, I don't mind cleaning. I don't mind taking care of the kid. I just know I'm gonna have to leave the house at some point. So like if I could do like the Bernie Mac show, like how he was, would have been perfect for me.
Oh yeah.
Home, taking care of the kids, and I go out and do comedy at nighttime. Be great.
Yeah, like, but then he had a level of money where he could have somebody come clean up his house.
True. Yeah.
He could order out if he felt like it all the time.
What's funny, my fiance says this all the time too. Like, if once a month she can have someone else come in and do like a deep clean, she would with that too. Like, women like don't mind cleaning and knowing that they did a thing, but having someone else come in and get the extra parts, because it's a lot to clean. Because you got to move shit. You know how women clean. You got to move shit and do.
When it's somebody's job, they might take it a little bit more extra.
Yeah. To me, I'll sweep around. I ain't going behind the couch.
I'm sweeping the part you can see.
Yep.
I'm moving my feet so somebody else could sweep. Y'all got this twisted. Shit.
Dude.
Yeah.
But that's a good one. That's so interesting. And definitely so same thing, just before we can close it out, having daughters, we can talk about our own daughter. I'm raising my daughter to be able to do for herself. But I'm also raising her to not be afraid to ask for help, because that's the other side of being too independent, is that you're now like, I got it. Yeah. And it's like, but you don't have to have it all the time. Like, give it to somebody else.
Sometimes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because that way you can relax, because they end up with, that's how you get the women that like are so like stern all the time or angry all the time. It's like, give yourself a break.
Don't do it all the time and don't ask for help all the time. Find that balance.
Yeah.
Be like a Libra and find that balance.
Our top 5 for today, because we always do this just because we're 90s babies. And so what is it? Top 5
video games from the 90s.
This was a hard one. I mean, I did it real quick, but when like I looked, I was like, yo, there are so many games that are like integral to my childhood that this was tough, but I got it.
As soon as we came up with the topic, I was like, I know what my number one is off rip.
I don't even know what my number one is. I thought I knew my number one until I looked at the list and I was like, shit.
Should I start? Let me start.
Go ahead.
All right. Top 5 video games in the 90s. Let's go. I will say Street Fighter. You gotta have Street Fighter in there because that's one of the best fighting games that's still out right now. You gotta have not in order. Streets of Rage 2. One of the best platform games. The music was dope. Fighting was dope. You got to put GoldenEye in there, GoldenEye 64, because that game revolutionized
first-person shooters
and all that. You got to put Zelda Ocarina of Time from 64, because that game revolutionized like the open world platform of
RPG.
Mm-hmm. And number 5, I mean the number 1. You got to put GTA 2. GTA 2, that game. I played that on computer. That game.
See, I'm not that old.
What? That game was
I didn't get into Grand Theft Auto until Grand Theft Auto 3.
Nah, GTA 2
came out on PlayStation 2.
You got to choose which gang you could work for, but the more you work for a gang, the more the other gangs hated you. So it was kind of dope.
Yeah, it was like 2D pixelated. My cousin used to play the PlayStation. I was like, oh, this game interesting. Okay, there was. You want to go, Cole? You want to
go? Yeah, I could go. All right. My number 5 is Resident Evil. My number 4 is Donkey Kong for 64. Donkey Kong 64.
That game is underrated, bro.
Cartridge.
Yep.
That is underrated.
My number 3 is Sonic. Number 2 is Mortal Kombat. And my number 1 was GoldenEye. Because GoldenEye was the shit. Yeah. You ever find that golden gun? It was a wrap. You killed everything moving.
Oh, yeah.
Like before Call of Duty, we had GoldenEye 64.
What?
They be talking about these zombies in campaign modes, but GoldenEye multiplayer was the best.
Yeah, ain't nothing on that golden gun.
Great friendships right there, yo.
And the chop, oh my God. All right, before the time run out, mine. Because, this was tough. All right, we said 90s, so any system, right? So I don't even know if I have an order, but I'm going to just name some things, right? First off, I got to say Crash Bandicoot. PlayStation, man. That was my first game on PlayStation, so I had to hold that one down.
I felt like he was a black person.
He definitely was black. He was definitely 100% black, 100% black. And then, this is so tough. Sonic the Hedgehog. In all systems, but like for Sega, especially the one where you got the one with Knuckles, where you put the Sonic game on top of it and then Knuckles entered the game.
Yep.
Knuckles is my favorite. So there's that. Super Mario World, right? The one with Yoshi.
Yeah.
Super Nintendo, I'm talking about. Like that was my shit, bro. That one, and then I gotta go Donkey Kong Country for Super Nintendo. The
Remember Diddy Kong?
Yeah, when you slap 5, I would switch places. Yep. Oh my gosh, that was my shit. And then I gotta put number 1 because to this day I still play and watch the show Pokemon for the Game Boy.
Oh, okay.
Game Boy.
I was going to do that one, but I was like, I don't want them to say nothing because it's a Game Boy and not.
You said any system.
I said any system.
But once you said that, I was like, okay, then I'm going there. I had to. And an honorable mention Mortal Kombat because that was.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know this, but I'm just give another honorable mention. Super Smash Brothers was 1999.
Yep.
Yo, I was gonna say that too, yo.
I thought it was 2000s, and I saw it on the list. I was like, oh, that was 90s.
You know, what other game came out in 99. I was gonna put it on my list, but I ain't want y'all to bitch.
I think I know what you're gonna say.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yep. I thought because that was my shit too. Yep. I was like, this is hard, bro. Because that game, I was not a skater.
Nope.
That game
that made you want to skate, yo.
I didn't skate, I didn't bike, but every time they had a Dave Mirror Tony Hawk game come out, I was like, I'm copping it. I'm getting it.
Yo, I did everything but skateboarding because I was just like, if I fall off this shit, I'm gonna die. I did
I tried
rollerblading, bike,
skateboarding.
scooter. Yeah,
My
but I was
daughter
like,
wants to skateboard now.
my little sister's kind of on it now, and I was like, nah, this shit is too. I seen too many injuries.
I'm good. I rollerblade, but not skateboard.
My cousin used to play a game called Thrasher Skate and Destroy. You ever heard of that one?
Nah.
It's kind of like Tony Hawk, but like you go around and like do little missions, like skate, and like you had to like tag up places or whatever. And then
I think I may have heard of it.
After a certain time, if you didn't do all your missions, then the cops will come after you, and you got to like get to the checkpoint before you get caught. And they like really run that. But it's like first you don't see the cop, you just hear him talking. And one time my cousin couldn't get to like the checkpoint, so he just jumped up on like this ledge, and like the cop is like running, video games still chasing him, but like running in place. And like time ran out, and he had a heart attack. Like the cops, he was like, my heart, and fell out, and he won. He beat the level. Like, oh my gosh, this game is wild.
Trying to glitch. That's funny.
It really was a glitch. But I'm like, did y'all plan for this? Like, how did he catch a heart attack? Like,
that's funny.
I'm about to see if they got any of these games on the PlayStation Store. About to download them shits right now.
I think they did have an updated Tony Hawk game, like the.
I think they revamped Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
Yeah,
and they put it out again. So I might have to check that out.
But that was those are some good ones, man. Oh,
right, man. Before we wrap it up, you guys got anything, any projects coming out?
Yeah, I'm not sure when this will come out, but right now I got some performances at the end of July, 29th, 30th. I'm performing Mount Vernon and in this Manhattan Broadway Comedy Club and in this bakery that it's black-owned bakery that we trying to, bring some attention to. So we producing a show out there, online radio show. Shout out to Cool B TV.
What about you, Nightmare?
Me, you know what it is. Each and every Saturday, I'm at Bridges Bar, 4100 East Tremont. I'm out there doing my thing. Last night was pretty dope. Yo, what was weird and strange about last night? I'm sitting there DJing, having a good time. People were having a good time, and then I noticed my son's daycare teacher.
That's hilarious.
Hold up, what you doing here? But that was fun though. Like they had a good time. We took pictures. So it was cool.
All right.
Before don't forget to like and subscribe, comment, follow.
Yes. Kenny Black, DJ Nightmare, Codeine, Shit Talkin Daddy's podcast. See y'all next time.